and how to overcome obstacles. So, why does mindset matter? Well, we have two different kind of mindsets. We have a growth mindset or we have a fixed mindset. So the growth mindset allows you to embrace learning, welcome challenges, mistakes, and feedback. It's what's going to get you to that next level. The fixed mindset is super negative and it's what limits you. So, a growth mindset is looking at a mental process that has the power to influence our thoughts, decisions, and behavior. So, it all comes down to being intentional. So, you need to be intentional with your thinking, you need to be intentional with the words you use, and you need to be intentional in what you're doing. I've dealt with a lot of athletes. Some of the best athletes that I've seen struggle because physically they can do anything. They are the most physically talented athletes that you will see in the combine. They're putting up the best numbers and testing, all that stuff. But mentally, they can't figure it out. There's an athlete of mine that I've worked with who is literally one of the best physically gifted players on the team, but he doesn't get on the field because he struggles with that mental side of things. So language is a huge component. So language can produce a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset is when there's blame, emotion. It's much more negative and limiting. So you're always focused on the negatives. So, for example, the other team's undefeated. We have no chance. That mindset is going to make you lose the game before you even play it. You need to understand that there's a difference between difficult and impossible. So there's that old Adidas saying, impossible is nothing. Research shows that by using a growth mindset, intrinsic motivation can be improved. So that's your internal motivation. So the more you embrace a growth mindset, the easier it is to keep going, the easier it is to get better, the easier it is to challenge yourself, all that type of stuff. So how do we change mindset? The first step is awareness of the language that we are using. Okay. I struggled with this for a long time. I always had a negative mindset. I thought it made me better, being like, oh, you're not good enough. You can't do this, blah, blah, blah. It was not useful. As soon as I started changing my language to be more positive, like you can do this, you are able, you deserve this, my results have been way better, both as a coach and as an athlete. So your mentality either holds you down or brings you up. So if you're negative, it's going to keep holding you down. You're going to drown in it. If it's positive, it's going to help elevate you. It's going to bring you up to that next level. So be more positive. Another thing that's worked very well for me is opposition thinking. And that goes hand in hand with reframing. So opposition thinking, if you have a thought, let's say, oh, I never get put in the game. Coach doesn't like me. I must suck. Opposition thinking would be, I'm at practice every day. I'm working my butt off. I have the ability, so why not put me in? Same type of thing, reframing. You're just taking a negative, you're reframing it into that positive. Another thing that's been super useful for me is practicing gratitude. So I journal every morning. At the end of my journal for the day, I always write a gratitude sentence. First thing, it puts you in a better mindset. When you're thinking about things you're grateful for, you're more positive, you're more upbeat, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. But just practicing that gratitude is just going to change your language and make you feel better. Another thing is practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness is being present in the situation. So this is something that I struggled with for a long time. You need to be fully present to make the biggest impact. So whether that's practice, training, game, just spending time with friends, family, being mindful and being present is going to help you enjoy things more. There's also a quote from Kobe. It's not the amount of hours you practice in the gym, it's the amount that you're present during that practice. So you can run through the motions, you can do the work, but if you're not present, you're going to miss out on 90% of the gains. Next one, build positive relationships. So the more positive people you have around you, the easier it is to be positive and challenge that mindset and challenge your language. Okay? So you need your teammates hyping you up. You need to be around guys that are going to hype you up. With negative relationships that are always bringing you down, that's a severe drain on your energy and you can't be your best self. So focus on building those positive relationships. Practice self-care. So one of the biggest things for athletes is they don't take that break. So before bed, go do something you enjoy, whether that's reading, gaming, whatever. Carve out time to help practice your self-care. For me, I like reading, so I make sure that I read. I take Epsom salt baths to help with my muscles, but also just to relax and decompress a little bit. Another key component is setting goals and visualizing success. So just with the goals, be aware there's process goals and there's outcome goals. So you want to focus on process goals a little bit more than the outcome goals because process is you getting better. Outcome isn't always under your control. Yesterday, I posted a mindset reel talking about focus on what you can control. The outcome isn't always in your control. There's other players, there's other teams, there's other coaches, there's other refs. There's all kinds of things going on. So just focus on the process of becoming better. Focus on being a better football player. And then visualize success. So this is something I thought was dumb growing up. As I got to a higher level, being a Team Canada athlete, visualization has been a huge component to help me make the jump to being one of the top Canadians. So visualizing your success, that means your eyes are closed, you're rolling through the play, you're visualizing you being successful. The more you can visualize success, the more successful you're going to be because you're used to it. You've trained your mind. The mind can't tell between visualization and actual things. So if you visualize enough, the mind's going to think it's possible and then you can do it. Seek continuous learning. So you're never good enough. You're never going to be good enough. You can always learn more. So whether that's provincial or state team tryouts, whether that's going to camps in the summertime, seek to learn from the best. If you get professional players at the camps coaching, ask them questions all the time. And then practice resilience. So no athlete had everything go their way all the time. The best athletes overcome resilience. One example that just comes to my head from I'm played basketball growing up along with football, but Steph Curry coming out of college or coming out of high school, didn't have a whole lot of offers, went to Davidson College, came out of college, wasn't highly touted. Nobody thought he was going to be a superstar. He had ankle injuries his first couple seasons in the NBA, struggled, and then finally broke through, and he's literally changed the game. Now everybody wants to be Steph Curry. You see kids practicing half-court shots all the time because of Steph Curry. So you need to be able to rise when you get knocked down. Think about the goals that you're setting and how hard it's going to be to get there. So for me, my goal is the 2026 Olympics. That's my outcome goal. I have other process goals. But every time something happens, like last season didn't go quite the way I had hoped. It was an opportunity for me to practice resilience. So I just kept on training, kept my head down, kept working. I ended up finishing second at nationals at the end of the season. But it was an opportunity for me to develop my skills. It was an opportunity for me to work on my mental toughness. So practice resilience. So some skills to help. You need to have supreme, unwavering confidence in your abilities. What that means is it's not that you're egotistical. It's not that you're a show off. You put in the work, so you need to be confident that you can perform. The ability to keep a laser-like focus when surrounded by distractions. So there's going to be all kinds of shit going on in your life between school, friends, family, all that stuff. You need to be able to focus on what's important, whether that's going to training, going to practice, finishing your schoolwork. But keep that laser focus if you want to make it to that professional level, if you want to make it to that college level. You need the capacity to sustain a high level of motivation through a long off season. Okay. Football off season, as you get older, becomes whatever, 8-9 months. So you need to be able to have that motivation to train hard throughout that whole period. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out. So how do you keep that motivation? You think about your goals. You set goals throughout the off season to help keep you motivated. So for skeleton, we have a 7 months off season. So I have targets that I'm trying to hit through sprinting, training, lifting, all that type of stuff. And that helps keep me motivated, as well as having a countdown for when the next season starts. Or I have a countdown in the gym for when the Olympics are. So every time I look at the board, I see that today was 626 days until the Olympics. So I use that as my motivation. The strength of will to conquer all anxiety, frustration, and discouragement. Okay, this is that resilience. So you need to be stronger than your anxiety. Things are going to happen. You're going to get stressed out. Maybe you get benched because you made a mistake. It's fine. You need to have the unwavering confidence in your abilities that you can make the next play, but you also need to be able to manage the anxiety. And that's going to use coping strategies. You need to be able to manage the frustration of losing, of not making plays, of making mistakes and having to deal with them. And you need to be able to deal with discouragement. So discouragement is coaches not believing in you. I've heard lots of stories from athletes where they're getting stories or coaches don't believe in them. But that's just one person. They don't mean anything. They don't know your journey. They don't know how motivated you are. They don't see that. So don't listen to them. Don't let a hater determine your career. And then you need the power to bring your intensity to the next level when needed. So that comes from preparation, that comes from practice. Okay. Michael Jordan, I think, said, sorry, I got a lot of basketball references apparently. Michael Jordan said, I practiced harder than I played so that when I went into the game, it was easier. So you need to challenge yourself more in practice. You need to be putting yourself in worse situations, whether that's starting, if you're a receiver, giving the DB inside leverage when you're trying to go in, or if you're a lineman, have the defensive linemen make the first move on you, so you're reacting to them. So you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you need to train so that when you get into the game and you need to level up, you already know you have the practice, you can bring that intensity. So some effective mental training tools include clear and challenging short and long-term goals. Okay. Clear is one of the most important components because if you're not clear, you're not going to know if you're getting there. And you want to challenge yourself. So if your goal is to play in the NFL, great. That's challenging. But you also need challenging shorter term goals like being the varsity starter. Okay. So challenging means it challenges you, but it's not unattainable. So you're pushing yourself further outside your comfort zone, but it's challenging you, but it's not impossible. Next one, visualization, like we talked about before. You need to have that visualization of you making great plays and succeeding on the field because that's going to teach your brain that you can do it. The more positive reps you have, whether it's just mentally or physically, the more confidence you're going to have. Positive, energetic language used to motivate yourself in a winning frame of mind. There's been a bunch of mic'd up players who give themselves pep talks. I've seen it on Instagram. Aaron Donald had a great one from a couple years ago, but you need to hype yourself up and use that positive language. The positive language is what sets the tone. So if you're like, yeah, I can do this, I practiced, I got this dialed in, this team is not good enough for me, we know what we're doing, we're ready to go. Versus that negative stuff, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Positive's going to level you up better. A consistent breath during all moments of action. So breathing is super important. In between plays, if you can take 3 deep breaths to settle yourself, that's going to help calm you down. That's going to put you in a better position. I know when I'm standing on the start line, I have 2 or 3 deep breaths that I take to settle myself down before a race. It's what helps calm you so that you can stay calm and perform. You need that confident, upbeat body language to get the feeling of success in your body and your mind. I personally listen to music all the time when I'm warming up. I dance with it. It makes me feel better. Just loosening up, dancing gives me that confidence. I have certain songs that I play before I go to the line. So it's finding what works for you. So not all these tools are going to work for you. Find what works for you and keep on doing it. Some coping strategies for when things don't go as planned. So choking, a critical deterioration in skill execution leading to substandard performance that is caused by an elevation in arousal levels. So this goes back to that breathing component. If you can't control your breath, you get overly aroused, which creates more stress, which creates more anxiety, which causes you to underperform. But if that happens, focus on what you're feeling. Okay. You can't just hide the emotions. If you're frustrated, if you're upset, you need to actually process it. So take the time and focus on going through that night after or the night of, so that you're not holding on to it. Because if you're holding on to it, then it's going to keep on coming up. It's going to keep creeping back into your performance. Share your feelings with someone close to you. So if that's your parents, if that's a sibling, if that's your best friend, if that's your girlfriend, have somebody that you can share your feelings with. I know my parents hated driving home with me when I was frustrated after a basketball game or a football game, and they loved it when I got my license. But my mom has always been somebody I can share my feelings with, and she helps me just She listens, which is just an opportunity for me to process through those feelings, but then she can provide advice as well. Do something nice for yourself. Okay. You can't live in the past. It already happened. You need to move forward. Do something nice for yourself. So if you enjoy playing Madden, go play Madden to take your mind off of it. Go do something, go read, go have a bath. Go take your girlfriend out on a date. Just something that's gonna move through so you're not stuck on the emotion, you're not stuck on what happened. Going back to gratitude, find what you're grateful for. Having the opportunity to play a sport is something you should be grateful for to begin with. Having teammates, having that sense of family with a team should be something you're grateful for. If you're playing at that college level, that should be something you're grateful for. Not everybody gets to do that. Then we're looking at positive self-talk. So shit happens, whatever, move forward. If it's in the game, if you make a mistake, move forward from that. Use that positive self-talk. You've done it. You've been there before. You can do it again. If it's after a loss, whatever. Hype yourself up. Another example is imagery. So you can it's like going through the video and finding the positives of it. Okay. Maybe you were in coverage, you didn't read the play properly, so the receiver made the catch, but you were able to close the gap quickly and make the tackle. So yes, you gave up the completion, but you didn't give up a touchdown. Focus on the silver lining. Muscular relaxation. So when I did track in university, I was rooming with a football player right before conferences. He had this ritual that he would do. So I had to leave for about an hour, and this guy would oil himself up and he would flex and relax every muscle of his body. That was his routine thing just to work on muscular relaxation. So that was something that comforted him. I left, I didn't walk into it, so I don't know what was going on, but muscular relaxation can be beneficial. I use it sometimes to help me go to sleep. You flex your muscles and then relax. It helps bring a deeper relaxation. And then view competition in a positive light. Okay. So a lot of times we're thinking competition is negative. We're trying to beat them. But just having the opportunity to compete is something positive. You get to test yourself. You get to push yourself. You get to find people that are better than you and challenge yourself to be better. Becoming better is the goal for life in everything that you're doing. You're trying to get better. So competition is an opportunity to see who's better than you and see where you measure and try to catch up, or to be able to demonstrate you are better. So use it as a positive experience as opposed to a negative experience. So don't focus on the negative component. Everything's coming back to being positive instead of negative. That's how you're going to have a happier life, not just in sport, but overall. And then the last thing, refocus. Okay. So the past happens, whatever, it is what it is. You can't control it. So move forward. Refocus on the next game. Refocus on the next practice. Refocus on the next play if you're still in the middle of the game. Okay. I don't know what the word I wanted to use there, but don't be caught up in what already happened. Focus on the next thing, the next play, the next game, the next practice, the next opportunity. So how to implement this? After a game, you can find some time to reflect. You can journal. You can use a feedback sheet. I've used both. Feedback sheet has been useful, and journal's nice because you can just get your feelings out. For me personally, I prefer journaling. I'm not a big talker, so journaling gives me an opportunity to process things. But make sure you're doing it for good and bad games. Okay, so not just for bad games. So it's good to know what happened during the bad games so you can help avoid it. But you also want to know what happened during the good games. Why were they good? What did you do that made you feel good? What did you do to play well? Because the more you can reciprocate that, replicate that, the more you can replicate that, the more good games you're going to have, and the easier it's going to be to get into that flow state and play well. Have someone you can discuss personal feelings with, like that's your parents, your brother, sister, sibling, dog, cat, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever. Have somebody you can discuss those feelings with. I talk to my cat all the time. He doesn't really listen, but uh, he's a good thing to reach out to when I'm feeling stressed. And then having a post game ritual. So for us, for Team Canada and Skeleton, a lot of times after a race, it's either a reward or to drown our sorrows, we'll go to McDonald's and grab a burger. It's just something that we do. It's something that calms us. It's something that lets us, it's almost a comfort for us. Another thing you can do is watch your favorite show. So if you're a big show person, and Young Sheldon or Big Bang Theory or American Dad, Family Guy, whatever. If that's your go-to, then take some time and watch that show. Just get out of your feelings, process that stuff. You want to switch your negative thoughts to positive ones. So that's that reframing, that's that opposition thinking. Focus on the positives. That's what's going to help you get to the next level. The negative is not going to help you. Negative is just going to hold you down. And then practice visualization. Again, visualization's key. It's going to be helping you become more successful. It can be guided, so that's listening to somebody guiding you through it. Or it can be on your own. I personally prefer on your own. I don't like listening to somebody trying to guide me. I'm stubborn, I guess. But the visualization has been a game changer for me. And then revisit why you play. Why do you play football? Why do you step on the field? Do you love it? If you don't love it, that might be a bigger issue. But you should love the game. That's why you're playing. You enjoy it. It's a way for you to have fun. It's a way for you to escape whatever's going on. Like, revisit why you play. And the last one, be a goldfish. This is from Ted Lasso. It's the goldfish has the shortest attention span. You can't focus on the past. Be a goldfish, forget it, move forward, make the next play. Okay. That is all I have